issue of gerrymandering. Okay. And this is the big bill that's on the ballot here in California. Gavin Newsom and the Democrats are pushing it, and they're urging everybody to vote yes on Prop 50. Okay, let's break down what this is really all about. First of all, it all started because in Texas, the Republicans there have decided they're going to redraw the lines. And it's customary for the lines to be redrawn after each census. So in the year, I don't know, 2030 or 2031 would probably be the scheduled time when they would re-optimize the boundaries. But this is a process where in most places, the politicians are the ones that are deciding where the lines are drawn, not the people. And so you effectively have politicians choosing their voters rather than the other way around, voters choosing politicians. Gerrymandering, in my opinion, is a very immoral concept. And, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger as our governor here in California, and say what you will about that guy, but he got one thing right, okay? And that was that there was an independent commission that was going to redraw the lines for all of the congressional boundaries in the state. And to me, this made a lot of sense. And it had some improvements because I remember prior to Schwarzenegger, incumbents were winning at an astronomical level. Or to put it a better way, districts were so solid red or solid blue, it was extraordinarily rare to ever see them flip. And so that was the thrust of it was one of Schwarzenegger's, I think, 4 big policies that he proposed, particularly in his campaign, was to have the independently drawn commissions. Well, Texas is redrawing their districts, so more Republicans are going to be elected to the House of Representatives from Texas. And Gavin Newsom and the Democrats are looking for a fight with Trump. They're looking for an opportunity to fight back. And they said, okay, we're going to fight fire with fire. And what we're going to do in California is we're going to redraw our district lines to favor the Democrats and disfavor the Republicans to fight back for the evil gerrymandering that are being done in Texas. But unfortunately, the Democrats just can't do it unilaterally. They've got to go to the ballot because there was a state proposition that enacted the district, the independent commission doing the district drawing of the lines. And so the people have to vote on whether or not they're going to allow that independent commission to be tossed aside and replaced with essentially Democratic operatives. They're going to redraw the lines. So if you vote yes on 50, that's what you want. And the Democratic Party is promoting Prop 50. They want a yes on 50 to fight back against Trump and the Republicans. I'm not with them on this one. Now, granted, I'm an independent voter. Now, from a Democratic perspective, I kind of get it. You want to fight fire with fire, but this is like abdicating a really important principle, and that is to have fair and just election processes. And so Democrats will often accuse the Republicans when they do gerrymandering, they call it cheating. Well, the Democrats now want to fight the cheating with their own form of cheating, which I think is wrong. It's immoral. It's a violation of what the principles of the Democrats claim to have always stood for. And they say, oh, it's only temporary. As soon as this whole Trump thing settles down and we get other states to do independent commissions, then we're going to go back to our own independent commission in California. Do you believe that? I mean, really? Do you believe that? Is that even possible? Do you think the Californian Democrats are going to ever redraw the districts? They won't. I mean, there's just no way, or at least it won't happen in my lifetime. It's just going to be more distortion, more rigging. Now, if you vote no on 50, which is what I'm planning on doing, well, the Republicans are going to still gerrymander in Texas, and I think they're going to do it in Ohio and a number of other states. I mean, it's going to put the Democrats at a real disadvantage. But in my opinion, you just can't stoop to that level. You have to stand for principles. And this is one where you need to stand up for what's right. And if you can't win that battle without completely compromising yourself, then you need to pick different battles. You need to find ways to win don't involve distorting the whole election process. Now, again, my point of view on this is a little bit interesting because I'm an independent voter. And, sort of, kind of, California is like roughly about half, I think if I recall, it's about half Democrat, about a quarter Republican, and about a quarter independent. So my district where I live, my congressman is Darrell Issa, who's a Republican, who I'm no fan of. But my district is likely one of those 5 or 6 districts that are going to be targeted by the Democratic Party to likely flip and make it a blue district. And I used to be in a blue district before. Scott Peters used to be our congressional representative because I live here in Poway, California. And then they redrew the lines, right after the census in 2020. And, Poway kind of got reconfigured with all of East County, probably to the satisfaction of Padres Twitter, which is a whole other fun rabbit hole we could go down if you want to go there. But at any rate, I don't think the Democrats, lose sight of the fact that there are a lot of independent voters that would want independent districts, districts that are drawn by independent commissions. And by the way, are there any districts that are going to be drawn in such a way to give independent or third-party candidates an advantage? Well, obviously the answer is no. They're going to redraw the lines, not to create opportunities for independents. They're going to redraw the lines to rig it so Democrats win more elections in the state of California. Again, I find this fundamentally wrong. The Democrats are pushing for this agenda. The Democrats want to fight back against Trump. And I hear you. I'm not a Trump fan at all. But you got to pick your battles. And this, to me, is one that is going to damage the Democratic brand further. The Democratic brand is already suffering right now. I think this is going to harm them further as we go. Because then you ask yourself, well, what do you stand for? Well, they just stand as being more anti-Trump than really standing for positive values, like in this case, independently drawn jurisdictions. So we'll have a chance to vote for this on the ballot. Tell me what you think about it. Gerrymandering, in my opinion, is just an immoral policy. I don't know how in the hell people of reasonable and rational minds would vote yes on this, other than thinking in partisan terms, blue versus red. Okay, let's